Okay, so let me get this straight. He got a 1-year-old baby by a one night stand that he just found out about. Okay, Lauren, girl, you better run. And girl, you look mixed, so you could probably swim. So jump your ass in that water and swim to the shore. And one of the ladies needs to self eliminate, go on back to the house and go heal, child, and come back next season because she should not be out here dating right now. She is not ready. And why is this other lady dating? Why is this other lady crying over a dude who don't give a damn about her? Y'all tell me that. Okay, get in here, y'all. Get in here. Let's talk about this. So listen. Peace, cousins. It's your cousin Reebell, aka the voice. And y'all, I got an opinion about everything. But check it out. Okay, so this is Reebell Radio presents your weekly dose of reality TV, pop culture, entertainment news, advice, and hot topics. So tonight's reality recap, I'm on Ready to Love, Detroit season 11, episode 6, and y'all, some of these revelations are revealing red flags like a mug, like a mug. Okay. But in the meantime, smash that like. We're gonna get into that definitely. But in the meantime, smash that like button. And subscribe with the bell so you don't miss none of my commentary on this and other reality shows and all the other situations. I so bust it. Okay, so this episode basically picks up where the last one left off. Two ladies were in the bottom. It was Donna and Christina, and they picked Christina to go home. Thank you. Thank you. Because I know they left us in a cliffhanger, and I'm like, what is the cliffhanger about? Send her tired ass back to the house, child. So she said, if she has to provide for herself, then what does she need a man for? And I'm like, well, girl, I feel you, I hear you, but get okay. So then go on, carry your ass back onto the house with your transactional gold digging ass, girl. Good riddance. You are on the wrong show, child. And but y'all know what? I wonder what story she's gonna have when she comes back to the reunion because she gonna go get with somebody, probably Devon's goofy ass, because he easy. You know what I'm saying? He low hanging fruit for a girl like that, for a woman like that. I just can't wait to see the reunion. What she gonna come back with, child? Anyway, so Tommy tells the group that this week he wants them to share things about their past and that he hasn't the stuff that they haven't shared before. So he's like basically gone and get them skeletons out the way, make you a good revelation. I'm kind of glad that he's doing that because see, if y'all watch this show, if y'all watched last season, this is where that lady Rose messed up because she had an opportunity to tell somebody that not that she had a son. I think the big thing for her last season was that she had her baby father was in jail or something crazy, child, and she didn't reveal that until like the last second of when they were like meeting family and friends, and the dude was taken by surprise. So I'm glad that he's doing this up front. He's like, lay out your stuff on the table, so there ain't gonna be no mishaps like last season. So I'm kind of glad he's doing that. So Nicole set up a group day to do hot yoga, and she invited Donna, Chris, Steven, Vince, and Ashley. And so then, they're doing their yoga, and then Donna and Chris, have their little moment. And Chris's disclosure was that he was unattractive growing up, and he um, learned the power of conversation, and he uses that. He mastered that, and he kind of uses that to have his edge over other dudes that are like more attractive, that have more things in him. So, I mean, I'm gonna keep this quick with them too, because there was no love connection. He was talking, she was looking at him like, okay, doing her usual analytical thing that she does with the dudes. She was listening, but she really didn't care. And honestly, he really didn't either. There was no love connection there. So I'm just keep it on moving, child. And so now Vince and Nicole and Vince had their moment together, and Nicole was like, she really likes Vince, and she was all giddy and stuff, but she be kind of giddy about everybody. No shade. She be kind of giddy about everybody. Vince, Ed, child. Thing about Nicole is that she seems to not be like self confident. as beautiful as she is and as much as I think that she has to offer, it's kind of sad to watch her sometimes. But she reveals that her revelation is that although she has always told people that she doesn't really want kids, she really does want to have kids, but she's afraid that she would be a bad mom and that she would fail at it all. Now, that was like a flag for me because it told me that that's a real thing. When people have an intense fear of failure and things like that, um, they catastrophize things. They have anxiety about things. Sometimes it's OCD. Um, Sometimes it's a thing called adicophobia or something like that, where you just think the worst of everything and you just think you're gonna fail at stuff. I don't know what she has. I ain't no damn therapist, but I think she should definitely, definitely go to therapy seriously. Because really there's no such thing as a perfect mom. She has the nurturing spirit. She's kind. I could tell she's kind, she's educated, she's classy, and that's a good start. And I think she should just basically start from there, but seriously, Nicole needs to I think she needs to go to therapy if she hasn't or isn't already, and she needs to work that out because that's a real thing. And then Vince reveals that, he has two children that he's really just learning how to be a parent, and he's getting a lot of things wrong. Um, that wasn't really a revelation for me. That was like, I mean, I think everybody, most parents do deal with that to some degree. But he did have some good advice for Nicole. He told her, as long as you do your best and you do your best with your kids, you should be able to sleep at night and be happy with, whatever results that you get when you give your all. And that's what he told her. He said, just, let go and just do it. And, she said she saw Vince. Nicole says she saw Vince in a different light. And, even though Ed was her top connection, Vince is moving up the ladder in that position for her. And, I'm glad to hear that because, I don't think Ed has really much things, a lot of rhythm for her. He really ain't feeling her, if you ask me. Um, and you know what, to be honest, the thing about Vince and Nicole is that this would be a really good match because he's really very dominant, and he has really strong opinions about things, and then she's the complete opposite. She's docile, and she's kind of unsure of herself, and you could tell she's submissive. So I feel like this would work out well. He would probably lead and guide, and she would probably follow. Now I'm not going to give them a couple alert just yet, but to me, it seems that they would be compatible. Even though I don't see sparks for them, especially from him. I could tell he likes her, but I don't know that he's like into her. I think he's kind of set his situation on Donna. So he ain't really giving Nicole like a lot of. He's kind of just kicking it with her. I don't really see a thing with them, right? So then Donna and Steve have their moment, and Donna reveals that she was in two back-to-back relationships with really, she called them really poor relationships. And then the thing for me, that's a red flag because that means that you just picking wrong. You don't know how to pick properly, and you picking probably for the wrong reasons because that's what it is a lot of times. If you're doing it back to back, I think the problem is may not be the dudes, it might be the dudes that you're picking. You know what I'm saying? And not to say nothing's wrong with them, but it's just you just probably got to pick better. Um, and now that she's saying that, now that she has a PhD, she got time. She's ready to date. She's ready to love. And then Steven reveals that, he lost his mom early on and that this has impacted how he deals with women and chooses women because he kind of leans on women for, that comfort and, that feeling that you get, that he's missing from his mom, and I understand him. I get him on that. But again, I'm gonna get past this because there's really nothing to see here. Um, Donna seemed to be interviewing him as she always does. I just didn't see nothing there, and I'm like, girl, get away from you better get away from Shanti's man. Anyway, moving on because there was nothing to see there. Ashley and Chris have their moment outside, and he tells her that he fell in love with someone in like 5 days, and she ghosted him. And I'm just looking at him like, um, Chris, why would you tell her a story like that? Why would you tell anybody, any woman that you trying to date, why would you tell a story like that? Because to me, it makes you, if I was on the other receiving end of that information, right? I would immediately start thinking, like, why did she go? Because, I have a vivid imagination. I would start making up all kind of scenarios. But I'd be really thinking, like, why did she ghost you? Um, and it makes you seem desperate, like to fall in love, to say you fell in love with somebody, if in a matter of days. And I know there's this thing, love at first sight, and all of that stuff, but it just kind of gave me pause, and I felt like there was a red flag with that. And I just didn't think it was a smart thing to say, to a woman, especially a woman like Ashley. She said that she definitely it was definitely a turn off for her, and she said she hates dudes with a bruised ego. So, there was definitely no love connection there, especially after he told her that there was never going to be one. So, Chris, I don't know why you did that, but I think you blew your chances with Ashley, who he said is super fine. It ain't gonna happen. Moving on, moving on, moving on, moving on to this child. Mm-mm-mm. Lauren and Bello have a date on this boat, right? And I'm gonna just start with this. First of all, I mean, look at them. They look great together, right? Nice couple. She's beautiful. And, he's a nice looking brother. And let me say this, I gotta go back because I want to apologize to Lauren, because in the first couple of episodes, they didn't show her a lot. But in the first episode, when she was like telling the men to, oh, turn twirl for me, spin around, it kind of made me feel like ill. I felt like ill. I didn't like that about her. And I felt like it was a masculine thing. And I wasn't really feeling her. But the more that I see of her, the more I can tell. I don't know. She's all right. She's nice. She's not what I thought she was. I might have been wrong about her. Um, but anyway, so back to them. They look great together, right? Right. And, he was feeling her, and she was feeling him. And oh boy. They had good chemistry together, right? They was hugging and taking selfies and stuff. But then he reveals he got a 1-year-old daughter from a one night stand that he just found out about like 3, 4 months, 4 or 5 months. Child, bye. Lauren, grab your bags, put your sneakers on, girl, and run. Jump your ass in that water, like I said, and swim your ass to the shore. Get the hell away from Bello. I knew it was something. See, and if you go back to, like, I think it was the episode when he had the date with Dominique. I was saying, it's something about Bello that I just cannot put my finger on, but it's something shisty about this dude. I just didn't know what it was. And I'm not gonna say he's shisty just because of this situation, but it just says a lot about a man who would, get a woman pregnant from a one night stand, because that means he hit raw, right? He hit it raw, right? And a one night stand means you really had no intention of seeing the woman again, but you still hit it raw. Like, that says a lot about him. And ew, I was just like, ew, no, Lauren, run. Okay. But I'm gonna say this, kudos to him for stepping up. I'm gonna give him a little round of applause. You know, Bello, shout out to you for stepping up and not, just disappearing on the poor child. And thank you for stepping up and being in the child's life, because that child did not ask for that, right? Um, but then Lauren asked if he would get back with the baby mama. And he said no. He said it's strictly a co-parenting situation. But no, I mean, my thing is that it's so new. It's like you just found out about this child 4 months ago, which means there's probably a lot of conversation between you and the baby mama. And it's just it's a lot. It is a lot. And he said to her, "Oh, it's not going to send you running away." And she's like, "No, I'm just processing." But girl, you better process and run. Lauren, no, no. Keep it moving, cousin. I'm telling you, girl, that's not what you want. That's not what you want. Not to say that he'll do it again. Not to say that this is his MO, but still, the fact remains that is there. It's a fresh baby and it's a fresh situation. And who knows, he might still be attracted to the baby mama. I don't, child. No, just no. It's a no for me, dog. If she was my cousin, I'd be like, leave that alone. So anyway, then Dominique and Cardi have a date. And listen, Cardi, I already told you, cousin Cardi, you need to get the hell away from her. She's not for you. Dominique, and listen, don't get me wrong. Dominique is a beautiful girl. She's a beautiful lady, but Cardi, your pockets definitely probably ain't deep enough for her. And plus, she's in this kind of thing, kind of like Christina, but she's just not as crass about it. She's very feminine about it, and whereas Christina was just like, oh, all just in your face, dropping it. What you gonna do for me? What you gonna buy for me? Like. But Christina is, I mean, not Christina, Dominique. I feel like it's the same woman, but just like packaged a little bit better. Do you understand what I'm saying? She's looking to be wined and dined and taken care of, not really she's not really I feel like she's not really focused on what she can give in a relationship. I think she's more here to see what she can get. And that's not what this show is about. This show is not like ready to date. This show is ready to love. So there has to be like an unselfish piece of you, that has evolved or emerges because you are ready to get with somebody and settle down. But I just don't think that she's there. She reveals that when she first got divorced, she was afraid of getting married again because she said, it kind of broke her or whatever. But she says she realizes that some things are meant to be broken and that she has wife qualities and she still wants to be a wife, and I can respect that. I could definitely respect that. Um, and then Cardi reveals that he has a daughter and he's co-parenting. Um, that was interesting to hear about Cardi. Um, but Cardi, just like most of the men, have fallen for her. He's taken aback by Dominique's beauty and her femininity because she is a beautiful, very feminine woman. She gives off this like charm. Um, Kind of the way that what's his name does. What's his name? Darius does, but in a womanly, on the woman's side. And a lot of the men are falling for it. And then, then he starts staring at her in her eyes like he's hypnotized and shit, right? And he said, he wanted to kiss her. And he's like, well, first of all, thank God he didn't try, because she would have swerved his ass just like she swerved Devon, right? Same way she swerved Devon. That was not gonna happen, Cardi. It was never gonna happen. You're never gonna kiss her. So he said he didn't want to rush anything. But I'm like, Cardi, rush what? What are you? There's nothing there. It's one sided, B. It is one sided. By Cardi, she is not thinking about you. What was crazy about these really nice, seemingly naive guys that I feel like they should have like some kind of dating coach. If they don't have sisters to guide them, or women friends to guide them, or women cousins like me to guide them, um, I feel like they should not be out here dating them because they be playing themselves. They just always going after the wrong type of woman for them. Because in what universe, Cardi, would this woman Dominique be a good match for you? Are you dead ass? Like, I know she's pretty, but damn, that's all your criteria is. She just got to be pretty. She keeps saying she's keeping her options open, but honestly, this is really not a good look. I mean, she's keeping her options open, even though Bello is her main dude. But keep it real, Dominique. You definitely not feeling Cardi. You just trying to hedge your bet so that there'll be other people feeling you in case this dude Bello decides he wants to get with somebody else. And to be honest, like, she kind of looks like his auntie dating him. I didn't like how they looked on the date. I didn't like how they looked. It just, the look was off. She just looks a lot older than him, and they're not compatible. There's no chemistry. He's feeling it by himself, all goofy. But they just don't look right to me. They don't look right together. And she's gaming him, and he's sitting there looking just Cardi. If you was my cousin, I would say, boy, get it together. These dudes got to know when stuff is out of their league, and not just not out of their league. Because Cardi's a nice looking dude, and he's a nice man, and he deserves a good woman. But They gotta know when it ain't right. They just how are you just oblivious to what is right for you and what is not? Anyway, okay, moving on. So Shannon and I'm sorry, Lauren invites Shannon, Devon, and Darius to get together, and Darius shows up first to meet Lauren, and he greets her with a bottle of wine, and it's Lauren's favorite wine. And she asked him, "How did you know to bring this? How did you like what were you thinking?" And he said, "I knew to bring this wine for you because I knew it was your favorite because I was listening. I listened when you were talking about it." And I was like, "Okay, Darius. Shout out to Darius for being a good listener." Yep. Yeah. Shout out to Darius for that because that's important when you're dating, right? That's important when you're dating. That's important when you out here wanting to get to know somebody and when you're ready to love. You definitely got to be a good listener. But Lauren, he still got 4 kids, girl, and we still don't know the backstory on that. So you need to chill out with wine or not. Take your little bottle of wine, go about your business for now, because we don't know what's going on with him. Um, so the other people in the group show up that she invited. So again, it's Shannon and Devon. They show up and everybody's there, and they start speaking about their revelations, right? So Shannon said, back in grad school, she fainted and she fell against the wall, and it gave her post concussive syndrome, and it still affects her today. Devon was real empathetic about what she was saying, and he said he admires Shannon, and that she has traits that he is looking for in a future wife. And I like that because remember, I told you, I did it once, I did it twice, but I'll do it again. They definitely get the couple alert from me. I think Shannon, yeah, I do. I do. I think Shannon and Devon would make a great couple. They are very much cut from the same cloth. They very much equally yoked. They very much on the same page, personality wise, and all of that stuff. Even though he think he should be with somebody like Dominique, but he must have bumped his damn head. Yeah, bye. Um, but anyway, so then Darius says, he does his revelation, and his revelation is that when he was a kid, his mom would drop him off at school, and the girls would kiss his hand and be like, "King Darius, King Darius." I was like, by Darius. That first of all, that wasn't deep. It was actually very self-centered of you to even tell a story like that. That was kind of stupid. But anyway, um, Lauren reveals that. But again, it's like Lauren said, it tells you a lot. It's very telling about who he is and the way he acts. So then Lauren reveals she has a rough time. She had a rough time watching her parents. They had a terrible relationship, and that definitely had an effect on her. And I think it affected her by making her feel like all men are bad, or there's no good men. Maybe her dad was cheating on her mom or beating on her mom, or just whatever. Allegedly, I don't know, I'm just guessing, but judging by what she was saying, that's what it was giving. Um so Yeah, that was her revelation. And then Devon said his father didn't get along with his mom, and they ended up getting a divorce, and this impacted him because he said it made him know that he wants to show up into a relationship, and he wants to show up whole. And he wants to show up whole, and he wants his partner to show up whole. And I thought that was dope. I was like, shout out to Devon, sorry. I like Devon, right? But what I don't like about Devon is I hate when he starts thinking that for 1 minute that he should be with somebody like Dominique. That's when I get like upset with him, and I want to just grab him by his collar and be like, "Cousin, get over here. Sit your ass down, please." But yes, I like what he said about showing up whole, and he wants that for himself and his part. That's important in a relationship, and we'll get to that later on. When you show up and you're like unhealed, it's not good. Um, so Lauren said that she wasn't really feeling Darius after this date because what he shared was like kind of it just was just self-centered and stupid for lack of better words. And even though he said, oh Lauren, I look at her like she's perfect, and this that, and whatever. The child, I don't blame her. I like Lauren now that I've been seeing more of her. I definitely like her, and I like how she carried herself. I apologize for the way I felt about her after that first episode. She seemed to be all right. But anyway, moving on. So then Nicole and Ed meet up, right? And she's so excited and she's so giddy once again. And, she's like, what's he going to say? Is he going to fall in love with me? Is he going to love me? Is he going to. I was like, Nicole, here we go again. Watching her in that last episode just be like, I'm going to make a date for us and it's going to be the best date you ever had, because, she I could just tell that she likes him way more than he's feeling her. And people been getting on Ed about, not showing emotion and stuff, but it, y'all keep it real. Think about it. He was showing emotion when he was sitting next to when he was with Shannon, right? Do y'all remember that? Right? He ain't giving nobody else no rhythm, but when he got around Shannon, he was opening up and touching and feeling and cheesing and grinning and all of that stuff. So anyway, he said, Nicole looked gorgeous when he showed up. He said he was actually looking forward to getting to know her better. And at this point, y'all got to understand, and y'all definitely know if y'all watching the show that they've known each other for 15 years, and this is the first time that they're actually getting together. And she's had a crush on him the whole time, the whole 15 years. So, so there's that, and so she's created this thing in her head about him and wanting to be with him, and the way that she's always seen him as fine and just all of that. Um so she said they're talking and she's saying to him, I can kind of tell when there's things happen in a relationship, and I can tell when somebody's attracted to me. I can tell some things, but with you Ed, I really just can't call it. And I'm like, because girl, that's because he ain't giving you no rhythm and nobody else except for Shannon. Shannon can probably call it. I mean, she was feeling it. She was feeling him that day. I mean, I don't see her really feeling him anymore. She seems to be more attracted. Shannon, I'm talking about, seems to be more attracted to Devon these days. Even though she had a good date with a good vibe with Ed. When she had that thing at her house when she had to get together at her house. So Nicole wants to know, she's asking him, she's like, I want to know how you show up in a relationship today, and then she asked him what was the most painful thing he's experienced that wasn't physical. And this was his chance to kind of open up, and give her a little something, right? But he comes back and he says, really nothing. He's like, I kind of have a high tolerance for pain. So nothing really, I can't really answer that question. And to be honest, that was his chance to kind of talk about, I think at the thing, at the get together that he had with Shannon, he talked about losing his friend, um, in the military or something like that. So he could have just said that, and not that he had to sit there and go into it and start pour his heart out about it, but he could have just gave her a little bit, right? But he didn't give her anything. He just brushed the whole thing off. He was like, I don't know, child. I don't really, nothing really bothers me. And that was not a good look for him because that's not what she was trying to get something and he gave her nothing once again. Um, but I feel like maybe he's got a lot of unhealed wounds. I think that when you see men do that thing, like nothing bothers me and whatever, maybe he has a lot of unhealed wounds and he's maybe not ready to deal with that stuff. Or, maybe he just don't want to open up to her because he really isn't feeling her. Or um maybe he don't get that deep with people this early on, or, when he just meets somebody. It could be a lot of reasons why he's doing what he's doing, but again, I have to point y'all back to the fact that he was not this way with Shannon, his Michelle Obama, as he called her. But anyway, either way, Nicole says she can't date somebody who will not open up to her, and she said it's definitely a deal breaker for her. And I gotta respect her for that. And you know what? She got a boundary. She got boundaries, and shout out to Nicole for having a boundary because it seemed like with Ed, yep. It seemed like with Ed, it was just gonna be anything goes, child, and he was gonna be able to do and say whatever. I just I didn't see her being able to put her foot down when it came to him, and I liked that she said that. Um, and even when she said that, he's looking at her like, whatever, like whatever. Um, that's on you. If you can't, if this is a deal breaker for you, that's on you because you a whole deal breaker for me anyway. That's how he's looking at her. So anyway, moving on. Ashanti has a date with Bello, right? Ashanti and Bello meet up, and she said even though Darius is in her top, he's her top pick, she definitely wants to get to know Bello more. And now knowing what we know about Bello and him with this one night stand turn baby mama situation, honestly, at first I was like, oh, this would have been a nice match, because they're a beautiful looking couple, she doesn't have kids. I think she's more age appropriate for him than Dominique, and the whole fertility thing, that would be, I mean, assuming that she's okay, that would be out the way. So I felt like this was a better situation for him than what he's doing with Dominique. But after finding out about that baby mama situation one night, I said, child, I just don't think this is good for Ashley. And because I think she has control issues. I talked about this in my last. Go back to my last recap, and listen to what I said about Ashley. This is particularly when she was on a date, sitting at the table with Darius. And she was just saying, men, I don't play. I need to be the center. You got to show me you want me, and I'll come and grab you away from all of that. She just control stuff. You could tell she been hurt, and I was saying, she seemed like she got some unresolved issues, and she just dealing with a lot of hurt and pain, and she seems a little bitter. And I just said she needs some healing. She might need to go to therapy. um but she just seems like she needs a lot of attention. And I don't look with this situation with him, this newfound baby situation. I don't think she would like it when he's giving all this attention to the baby mother and the newborn baby, his new daughter. So anyway, back to their date. I just kind of digressed a little bit. So anyway, he was feeling her, and she was, because she's a pretty girl. She's very pretty, and she feels the same way about him. He's an attractive dude, so the physicality, the physical attraction was definitely there. So they start talking, and he asked her what makes her think that she's ready to be in a relationship, and what makes her feel like she's ready to be a wife. And she said, because I've done the work. I've been in therapy for 3 years. I was like, okay, she's been in therapy for 3 years, but she's still acting like this. Like, okay, whatever. Maybe it's not working. I don't know, child. Maybe they ain't get to certain things yet. I don't know. But she said her therapist has shown her a lot of things about herself. And Bello asked her, so what have you learned about yourself in therapy? I think she was surprised by the question, because you could tell she didn't know really where to go with the answer. See, it sounded like she was answering that for the first time in her life. Um, but she said that she learned that she's strong, but that at the same time she's not strong. And I'm like, girl, that's an oxymoron. It's like you learned that you were strong, but you learned that you're not strong. Like that I don't. I mean, isn't that the point of being in therapy? Because you go there because you want to feel like you're strong, but there are things that are keeping you or holding you back from feeling like that. But if you're in therapy for 3 years, why do you feel like that? That makes me feel like there's something that's fresh, super fresh, that just happening or just happened that you haven't really dealt with. She said that she feels really defeated, and she feels really, really weak right now. And then she just busted out into tears, right? Just started crying. And she said she just wants to be Ashley. She just wants to be funny, happy Ashley. But she saw somebody go through some mental health issues, and it's someone that she loved. And I'm like, I ain't trying to be nosy or nothing, but I thought Bella was gonna say who you talking about? Was it somebody you were dating? Like I want to know, was it somebody that she was dating? Was it a family member? Was it like if you gonna open up and say that and then bust out crying, at least like spill a little bit of information. I'm not gonna say spill the tea. I want to be respectful of this thing that's hurting her. But at the same time, I want some clarification. I just need some clarification. Who did you see go through this? Is this somebody that you were dealing with? Was it somebody in your family? Was it a good friend that you was close to? I want to know. But I told y'all in my last video that Ashley was unhealed. I said it. I called it just by the way, the things that she was saying about, you know, dealing with Darius. And this is why I felt like Darius ain't the right person for her, even though they make a nice couple, a nice looking couple, even though they're in each other's top. I just feel like with the four baby mamas and, all of that stuff, she just, it ain't it's not, it's going to be a problem. They going to come back and she going to have a story to tell. But anyway, go to my last video. I definitely spoke about it, definitely broke down how I feel about her. But getting back to this date, I am glad that she's in therapy. But I feel like she should be out here. She should not be out here in these dating streets until she gets emotionally healed and gets through the things that have her like this, and get to the things and get through the things that are stopping her from being happy, right? Because she said, I just want to be happy. I just want. So that means that you're not. That means you having trouble finding the happiness. And if you out here dating when you feeling like that, usually what's gonna happen is she's gonna end up looking for her dude or whoever she gets with, um, to be that happiness, to be that source of happiness. And y'all know, if y'all know what y'all know, if y'all know anything about relationships and healing and things like that, that is a recipe for a disaster. And it will drag and drain, whoever you're with. Because don't nobody, I mean, you ultimately are responsible for your own happiness. And if you don't go into a relationship understanding that, then I think it's gonna be a problem. But anyway, Bello was kind and he was empathetic, and he took her hand and he called her strong, and he gave her a big hug, and he was like, and that made her feel good. She was just like, oh, and he said he wanted to unpack some of those layers, uncover some of the layers that she has. And I was like, well, I mean, okay, but we'll see, because you busy, and a lot of times I just feel like that gets tiresome. It gets draining after a while. This kiss, okay, up in the beginning, it might be like, oh, you'll listen, but after a while, you can't be the source of somebody's healing. They have to heal themselves, and they shouldn't go into a relationship with this much pain and stuff. That's just my personal opinion. She said anyway, she appreciated how he handled her, and she called him husband material. But is she gonna feel like that when she find out about that one night stand and that baby? I just wonder. Um, so anyway, moving on. All the dates are done. And the ladies are back in the lounge with Tommy to talk about, who they're feeling, who they're not feeling. And okay, so Dominique said she had a good time with Cardi. Listen closely though, y'all. She said, I had a good time. We had a good time. But she didn't say she was feeling him. Notice she did not say she was feeling him. She just said they had a good time. There's a big difference. And that's because we all know you're not feeling Cardi. And Cardi, even though you're mesmerized by this lady and her beauty and her femininity, I'm telling you, she ain't for you. But anyway, Nicole says she loves Vince. She loves Vince. And that, spending time with him helped her snap out of the Ed cloud. I was like, okay, girl. Okay, I feel you on that. Because you definitely needed to snap out of that Ed cloud because he was not giving you a cloud back. Donna says she's feeling Vince, and she also says she connected with Steven. But I was like, girl, you did not connect with Shanti Moon. Stop playing. y'all conversed, and that was it. There was no damn connection. So just please, 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 please.
Stop the cap.
Stop trying to hang on and make up stuff just to stay on the show because there was no connection with Steven. Um, you interviewed him, and that was basically it. And then Shannon says she's feeling Devon. No surprise there. And again, I'm gonna go ahead and give them the couple alert. That's my favorite couple. That's my favorite couple right there. Devon and Shannon. I feel like they belong together. If nobody else gets together on this show and nothing else works out, Devon and Shannon should work out. If he doesn't blow it and try to get with a girl like Dominique or what's her name, Christina, and blow the whole thing, like I mentioned in my last recap. Um, Lauren says she's feeling bellow, but when she mentions that she just found out that he has a child on the way, Dominique is like, oh wow. She's like, oh wow. And that makes me wonder, did she set it sounds I don't know if it was just the editing or if she really didn't know about this. I don't know if he's mentioned I don't remember him mentioning this. Because I thought it was the first time I ever heard him talk about it. But her oh wow was it was telling, and because if she really didn't know about it, I'm just now wondering how is she going to deal with that. Um, so Ashley says she's feeling bellow, obviously, because he was a good ear for her, and she thinks he's husband material. But child, we'll see. So the lady said they're not feeling Chris. It was unanimous, basically. Nobody was really feeling Chris, and who didn't see that coming? Lauren said she wasn't feeling Darius because it was like dating a pastor. And then Vince, Ashanti said she wasn't feeling Vince just because, just the way he is and his views, his worldview on marriage and things like that. And nobody was feeling Ed either. It was a unanimous, unanimously the women felt like he is emotionally unavailable. All of them felt that way. Um Ashanti takes Chris out on a date. Ashanti takes Chris out to talk about, to let him know that, the reasons what the ladies were thinking, when they were deliberating. And, Chris is totally oblivious to the fact of that he's there to be eliminated, possibly eliminated. He's like, listen, I got my top five, and that I'm people that I'm feeling and I'm making connections and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And I'm like, Chris, where and when? Where and when? The only connection that I really saw, and it wasn't even a connection, it was Christina continuously sniffing on his neck, telling him that he smelled good. That he smelled good. And it wasn't even a connection. She was never saying she was feeling him or nothing, but she did ask him for money for her massage with her gold digging ass. Anyway, Ashanti is just checking him left and right. She's like, "Oh, top five connections is crazy when there's really only six of us." She's like, you were not connecting, boo. I don't know what you thought you were doing, but you were not connecting. All of the ladies talked about it, and they feel like you're not ready to love. So Chris got to head on back to the house. Sorry, Chris. And then Nicole takes Ed out, on his date to tell him to let him know that the lady's been deliberating and to let him know, what was going on and what they thought about him. And before Ed could even get into the damn booth, he had one leg out, one leg in, didn't even have his ass on the seat. Nicole just busted out in tears. And I'm like, girl, are you okay? And I don't mean, are you okay from this? I'm like, are you like overall, are you okay? Because what the fuck? What are you crying about? Like, why are you crying? Like, and I mean crying, like she's devastated. And I'm like, she tells Ed, because he won't open up, that he's not ready to love. And I was surprised at that because I didn't know they were gonna drop two dudes, at the same time. I thought because Chris got kicked off, they were gonna at least give Ed another shot to kind of open up to some people, which I feel like they could have done because I think he would have went more at Shannon, and tried to make a better connection with her or even deeper connection with her because she was definitely feeling Ed. I ain't gonna lie. But anyway, he said he was surprised. Ed said he was surprised because he said he was being open and transparent with the ladies and he just didn't know where this was coming from. Ed, where and when. Like, isn't it funny how people have their own perceptions of their behavior? It's like that Chris and Ed both are like, yeah, because I was being open and I got my top fives and I'm here being transparent, just saying things that just were not happening. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't happening at all. It's not what they were showing people, and it's not. Listen, we know that that's the case because all of the women were in agreement about the same things about both of them. So you can't deny it, right? I think when people do that though, I think that when they're not able to show, show up for people and things like that, I think that or when they think they're showing something that they're really not, I think that's just from a lack of self-awareness. And I think it's a red flag to me that both of those guys need therapy. Ed needs therapy, and I think Chris definitely needs therapy because I think, going back to his childhood when he's talking about that stuff. Oh, and he wasn't like Christina said, not Christina, like what's her name said? Ashley, she was just like it, or somebody, one of them said it's like one sob story after the next. Everything, every time he talk, it's like a sad story. It's like he trying to get you to like him just off of being sad. Like it just that's what he was giving. And I feel like he definitely should talk to somebody, and Ed definitely should talk to somebody because um he can't if you can't open up to people, if you're in a process that requires you to open up to people and you can't open up to people, then either you shouldn't be there or you need to recognize what they're saying and definitely go talk to somebody. Go talk to somebody, right? So back to Nicole. She's falling apart, and after telling him that he's going home, and she's apologizing profusely, and but then in a sidebar, she says, I'm just glad that this happened because, I really have no idea if he's even interested in me, and I'm not going to spend 15 more years trying to figure that out. And I'm like, okay, girl, good for you. Good for you. Good for you. Right? Good for you. But at the same time, what the fuck are you crying about? What are you crying? You made the right decision. You saw what you saw. You have a boundary about it. He's not for you. Like, why are you crying? You ain't never been out with this dude before. I mean, maybe it's what Tommy said. Her fantasy is crushed or whatever. I just I don't know. But I'm telling you, I bet you, I guarantee you, when they yell cut, she's probably like, okay, so let me get that number. I don't think she's gonna walk away from Ed. I really don't think she's gonna walk away from him. I think she's gonna be texting him, and they're gonna end up probably going out, and she might have a story to tell when they come back for the reunion. That's what I'm thinking. Just watch. I just feel like there's gonna be some kind of story, some kind of story to tell. And it's probably not gonna go well because Ed is definitely not feeling her. I don't think so anyway. So you all, that's it. That's it. That's it. That's all. So y'all jump down in the comments and let me know what y'all thought about this episode. Okay. Does Ashley seem ready to love to you? Or do you think she needs to go back to the house and get some healing and come back next season or something? That's what I think. Would you date Bello after he dropped that one night stand and baby mama news? Would you date him or would you run? Like, is that a red flag for y'all? And what do y'all think Dominique is gonna say? And what is she gonna do? And how's she gonna handle this thing? She's probably like, "Oh, good, he got a baby, so he ain't got to be pushing me about no damn baby." To maybe that's how she feels. I don't know. And why was Nicole so damn emotional about sending Ed home when she said she didn't even like him? I mean, she doesn't even know if he even likes her. Like, what? 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 Let's talk about it in the comments, y'all. So again, it's your cousin Reebell. Cousins, it's your cousin Reebell, aka The Voice. Smash the like button and go ahead and subscribe and come back, y'all, because we gonna finish this thing on out. I just love talking about these people on these days. I love Ready to Love. So come back. Thank you for joining, but definitely come back. Definitely subscribe so we can, get into these dates and these red flags and all of these all these crazy situations going on with these couples. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for joining. Peace out.